The Levy Committee President. I'm also a sitting member on the Board of Education. Brian, you want to go next?
I'm Brian Dixon, community member.
I'm Susan Weil, Director of Special Education, Levy Treasurer, and this little girl's people.
I love that.
I'm Paula Crone, the superintendent, here at Tecumseh Local.
Beth Moore, I work for the district as well.
I'm Marie Weil, I'm an intervention specialist at the high school. Mamie Loeb, I'm a community member.
John Stafford, community member, Board of Education.
Aaron Oaks, principal at the high school.
Heather Rainberg, community member, and principal at Neutral Elementary.
Megan Dixon, community member.
Carol Driscoll, community member.
From the Park Board of Education and Levy Committee.
Roger Diller, board member.
Paula P.A., community member.
Jackie Mann, community member.
Thanks everybody for coming. I know 4:30 is a little early. We made this meeting to try and see if we could get some more teachers to come today. We'll leave it at that. Levy Fund Financials. Susan, do you mind giving us a quick update?
Yes, on our last report filed in December, we had $26,385.96.
Okay. No, since then, no expenditures or income or?
We've had $62 income since then.
Okay.
Roughly, you know.
Okay,
My computer won't turn on in here, so I can't tell you exactly, but.
understood. So why are we here? We're here to try and get some levies passed, or a levy passed in May. You know, some old business, as everybody in this room knows, we had 2 levies on the ballot in November. We had the PI and the substitute. The PI did pass. The numbers, I'm trying to think, that was close to 60-40, if I remember right, maybe 59-41, somewhere around there. The substitute failed. There's a litany of reasons why I think it failed. Hopefully maybe tonight we can talk about and get some feedback on why others think that it failed. It failed early on. It failed during early voting. So when we got early voting results, it was done deal. And then the in-person voting started to come in, and it was just an exact reflection. You know, the numbers really didn't move up or move down after those early voting. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So new business, timeline of events, and this was provided to me by OEA, so thank you very much. And there's also a packet in the back with some dates that we can talk about. Carol, I'm going to be looking at you mainly on this because I know you ran a successful campaign and I want your feedback on this. So February 5th is the filing deadline, which we are well ahead of. I guess let me backtrack. The levy that is on the ballot in May is a straight up renewal. We had the opportunity, since the substitute failed, and the combination of 2 renewals into one, or 2 emergency levies into one, we are allowed to now unpackage those and pass those. So there's a $2.1 million emergency levy up for renewal. It will say renewal on the ballot. So that is in our favor, that is good. I know Denise had the lead. Paula, correct me if I'm wrong, we have to pass it in May, or we have another opportunity in November?
We have, our final opportunity is November, so we have 2 chances to pass this.
Okay. And then the other part of that, there was another $780,000 EM levy that we're not going to work on this year. We do not have to pass that until next year. And we will just put that on the ballot right now as an emergency renewal as well. So there will have to be a new money levy at some point. The board hasn't decided on what that's going to be in November, but depending upon what happens with this particular levy in May, that'll be, you know, the direction moving forward. But the board has put a 5-year, $2.1 million emergency levy on the ballot for renewal. Paula, correct me if I'm wrong, that corrected, or that combined 2 levies that were originally passed by the voters in 1987 and 95?
That's correct.
Okay. And 95 was the last time the district got any new money for the general operating expense. So February 5th is the filing deadline, so we've got that. March 16th is when OEA is recommending active campaigning, mail, text, phone calls, etc. should begin. Our voter registration deadline is April 7th. I know last year we tried to do a voter registration at all of our events. I don't think we got above 20. I think it's a good idea to do it, but I also don't want to strain our resources and make that our primary focus. I think we should have them at the tables if we can get them, but it wasn't hugely effective last year, and I just don't, or last time, I don't know if we should spend our resources on that. I don't know if anybody else has any input or thoughts behind that. Okay.
Matt, one thing, could we look at the list of voters and make sure that we have our employees
Yes,
registered?
yes.
That might be a focus because hopefully supporting employees.
And also OEA recommended like.
The question, when the buildings were built, was there new money involved with that? I mean, was that considered new money? I mean, since we're saying that it's been 30 years since new money was passed, was there anything that the community would look at?
And we can get into this, Roger, when we get into lessons learned. One of the
Okay.
biggest things that I saw on social media is people would go off and do their own research, which I encourage everyone to do.
Yeah, I know.
And they would go on there and they'd say, what do you mean they haven't got any new money since this time? Look at, this budget, and they find, I can't remember what the name of the website is, but they were looking at everything, including grant funding,
Yeah.
increases in the 20 mil floor, which nobody has any control over. And so they would look at, oh, the school's getting more money. Well, yeah, but we can only spend it on this specific thing.
Excellent.
And so there was a lot of misinformation when it came to that.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe we can say no new operating money, or maybe that could be one of our terms that we try and flush out there. But that's a good point, Roger. So, and to Brian, I like your idea too, to your point. I think we've got a list of unregistered parents we could probably try to target and send some, at least emails or text messages to garner some interest to try and get those registered. So I will backtrack my comments and see what we can do with that. Early voting begins April 8th. April 22nd is the deadline for the last flight of mail to be sent out to ensure that it arrives before Election Day. OEA is suggesting 3 flights if the funds are available, and then May 6th is the Election Day. So this is kind of their timeline. And we can look at this in the back. We can do that later. If we all think that this is a good timeline or good thing or good way to follow, I'd like to set up subcommittees to be a lead head point person for all of these. Somebody to do phone calls, somebody to do postcards, texts, emails, social media. We've already got Carol assigned to that. I guess, Carol, do you still want to do it? Because I would love to have you still do it. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to skip lessons learned and let's go to this. So formation of subcommittee's Facebook page. Carol, I have you down as the primary contact. Do you need any help or assistance with that, or are you good?
I'm good, as
Okay.
long as everybody just continues what they were doing and send me things
Okay.
and information and put something in my ear every once in a while if I'm doing something else.
Okay. Website, Penny, are you still good managing that?
Yeah.
Okay. We will owe you an update to update the website to get some additional information to get it kind of what it actually is this time.
Yeah.
So, I'll probably work with, the administration to get something written up and then get it over to you to make sure it's true and factual.
We'll
And
just,
then I'll get it to you.
yeah, just send it to my email and I'll get it updated.
Okay. Do you need any assistance, or are you okay running it?
I'm good.
Okay. Public engagement, OEA saying 6 to 9 touches, and what they mean by that is signs, mailers, text messages, and email campaign. I put on here musicals, sporting events, and conferences. So, Brian, I assume that we can rely on you to continue to man up the signs?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I know we got the large signs. I know last time we were kind of scrambled to get yard signs. It sounded like we were gonna try and go with, who's the firm that does a lot of the printing for the district?
Graphic.
Kelly Gannon.
Kelly Gannon.
Kelly Gannon. Any issues with reaching out to her? And I don't know how many small yard signs we want, but I know once we ran out, there was a large screen for them. I don't know if we should try and order those sooner than later. I assume we just want to keep the same design.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else got any back, or people kept them, and they're planning just to put them out again, which is kind of what I would do.
So, say I've got about 15 or 20 in my garage. So, I mean, we can certainly say that. Do we want to order any more yard signs, or knowing that this is a renewal, do we want to defer that expense to next time, I guess is the question. Does anybody have any insight or any, we don't have to make that decision tonight, it can be an action item, we have time. I just, I think that we should have a decision made by February so that we have time to get them on order.
I think the large signs that we have are impactful, and having more of those was a good idea the last time.
The only place we don't have a lot of large signs is like within the city limits and that kind of stuff, so,
Roads aren't quite so big.
right. So that might be someplace that
Focus the yard signs.
the yard signs, if you
Okay.
guys want to do those, and if you don't,
I
you
can
have
get
plenty
a
of
quote.
others.
You can work on getting a quote for yard signs, how about that, Matt?
That works. Yeah, let's make that an action item. Quote for yard sign, just keep the same design that we had. It's simple, it stood out. I like the second batch a lot better than the first batch, though. This first batch was
Smaller.
smaller. Mailers, so last time OEA funded or did an in-kind donation for the mailers. I don't know if that's being offered up this time around, and they're not here, so we'll have to defer that. It'll be a much simpler mailer this time. Carol, I know you designed it last time. Again, I felt like you did too much last time. I just don't know if there's anybody else that has a graphic art. Unless, of course, you want to do it, but I don't know if there's anybody that has a graphic art capabilities that can kind of make these mailers and be kind of in charge of those. Is there anybody who would be willing to take that on? If
So I
not,
got a CNR.
Carol, do you mind picking it back up again?
No,
No, you don't want to do it, or no, you will?
I don't mind.
No, you don't mind, okay. Thank you, Carol. So we'll work together and get you some info on what it is, but again, the really nice thing, at least with this one, I know that we won't get any growth off the development, but it's pretty simple. It's no new, I'm almost weary to say no new money anymore, because we said no new money on the last one and it didn't click, so.
A factual statement, that's what I'm allowed to give,
Yeah.
would be no additional money.
No
And
additional
no
money.
additional money sounds good, because if I'm a taxpayer, which I am in this district too, I know it's no additional money. No new money, some people seem to view that as you're not telling the truth perhaps, because it is new money. If I didn't vote, I wouldn't, it's new money again.
That's true, that's true.
And once you get them saying you aren't telling the truth, nothing you say is going to be the truth to them.
Yeah,
So that's what we learned,
yes.
the main things. Like, and then you just can't get that into that group of people's heads.
Agreed. we all saw that.
Yeah.
Musical, the musical date is 17th, 18th, 19th,
14, 15, 16.
14th, 15th, 16th.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be rude to the musical or the family or the public coming in and have a table set up there and be in their face. Is that a bad, I mean, I know we did it at the football games, but coming to a musical is slightly different. I just wanted some feedback. Should we have a levy table set up all 3 days at that
Yeah.
event?
I see
Lots
lots
of people
of
there.
Okay,
That's a different
It's a different
demographics. of
Yeah,
people.
absolutely.
okay.
You
So-
can even do it, Matt, if you feel like when they're coming in, that's like a time when everybody's in a bit of a hurry and trying to go get their seats and such. There's like that intermission time
Yeah.
typically where everybody goes and gets a refreshment, like maybe during that time.
Okay. So we'll set up a table there. Nobody has to commit to sign up right now. I could definitely do one. My daughter's in the musical, so I at least want to see it once. Okay. Sporting events. We have basketball going on right now. When does basketball season end, Brian?
February.
All right. And then after that, it's track and sport and fields and it's tennis and fall or spring sport.
Fall, you got baseball, you got softball, but
Okay.
just.
Well, there's tennis,
There's
it's
tennis,
both,
it's just
yeah.
not- you don't have
There's tennis in the spring.
crowded events like.
Boys tennis in the spring.
Okay. Are there any events that have enough pull for sporting events that we could try to take advantage of?
I mean, maybe our track invitational, but
Okay.
beyond something like that, baseball does, I mean, you're not gonna have a large crowd for a baseball game or a softball game. It'd just be the same people repeatedly.
What's the date of that?
The track invitational,
Yeah.
that I don't know off the top of my head. You may wanna think about the ROTC drill meet as well, possibly.
That's a good one.
I mean, there's a lot of people from outside the community, but there's also still a lot of people from within our community that are in attendance.
I know there was a wrestling meet here, I think last week. Is there any tournaments being hosted here for wrestling or no?
Nope.
No, okay. That was my next question.
I'm sorry.
Here, you're fine.
February, yeah.
First couple weeks of February.
First couple weeks, February, okay.
I also wanted to share, if I may, Matt, that we have a Connecting Link publication going out at the end of January, and there's a factual statement in there, but a factual statement about the renewal and how much money it'll generate for 2.1 million.
Okay,
So that will be on the front page, and that Connecting Link goes to every household in the district,
okay.
to their actual mailbox. So that'll be.
Matt, the ROTC drill meet is March 8th.
March 8th, okay. Okay. And then were you able to find the track invitational? I'm sorry.
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. So while he's looking for that, text messages and email campaign. This is something that OEA offered last time, and they're not here, so we'll probably have to defer to next time. Again, I don't know what services they will be offering this time at a in-kind situation. But there were people, I know Kara Castle, she couldn't be here today. She was going to man up the text messaging campaign. I think it's the same for the email. Do we think a phone campaign is worth it here, or do you think we should just stick with text messages and emails? Okay.
Yeah.
What was your question, I'm sorry?
We were just saying that we didn't get a tax.
There was apparently a bug in the system, and it didn't end up working, so no texts ever ended up going out. They couldn't solve it ahead of time.
I'd rather have a text than call, because if somebody
Okay.
calls, I don't answer it if I don't know who it is, and you
Okay.
can always leave a message, but
So
text is better.
for now, I'm gonna pencil Carrie in to see if she still would like to head that up. If she so chooses, we'll be looking for somebody else to help out with that. Multiple people actually, because I think that the way that it works is that, we've got a list of phone numbers in the district already, for registered and unregistered folks. That, you know, you put it in this program and it spits it all out and it sends it out. But you have to break it up and you have to enter it manually. At least that's what was described last time. So there will need to be several. I think Carrie had 4 or 5 volunteers. So we'll defer to her for now, but if not, we will need some volunteers for that. Do we have a date? I know that the conferences are in February, so we've got a couple of weeks to try and scramble and maybe set up some tables there.
It's the 4th and 6th, and then the 10th and 12th.
4th, 6th, 10th, and 12th. Do you know if those are at the schools the same days?
I
or
know
which
that
school?
Donald's Middle
Okay.
is the 4th and 6th,
That's where I went to.
Okay.
and
It works.
New Carlisle Park Lane is the 10th and 12th.
Okay.
I think the middle school's on the 4th and 6th, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not, but I'm not 100% on that.
Middle school is the 3rd and the 5th of February.
Okay, very
Donaldsville is the 4th and the 6th. Aaron, you would know high school.
I
Third and
didn't
fifth.
have anybody there at the high school,
Middle.
honestly.
Yes, 3rd and 5th.
I say, John, you did the high school last
We don't
time.
have-
You didn't have much.
We don't have,
You didn't have much, did you?
we don't have a lot of foot traffic
Right, it was.
for parent-teacher conferences at the high school. I mean, I wish I could say different, but I mean, I'm just gonna shoot you straight and be honest, there's just not a lot of, there's not a lot of foot traffic.
Okay.
I mean, we can have someone there, that's fine, but I just,
So, something to think about, just, and I know that there's a lot of the same faces in this room, and I know a lot of you also have to be at conferences as well, but if we could get volunteers, and I'll send out a volunteer sign-in sheet for events similar to what I did with like the Heritage of Flight and football games and things, and we'll send that out. Nobody has to commit tonight because we have some time, but if we can just get everybody to pick at least one event and volunteer at, that'll really help out. I mean, I'll be frank, I went to probably 75% of the stuff on my own last year. I cannot sustain that. I need some help this time. So, would just appreciate it. So next meeting, and I know we gotta go fall back and do lessons learned, next meeting. If you wanna keep it at 4:30, if this works good for the admin and everybody, I'm okay keeping it at 4:30. If 4:30 was picked to be, to allow teachers to come to this. But I know that there could be some community members that 4:30 puts this out of reach to. I don't know if this group has an opinion one way or the other.
I'd ask the principals in the room. What do you think?
I don't live in the community, so I'm always gonna say earlier is better for, if you're asking for me personally, but, you know, if you said because teachers can attend, I mean, I don't, you know,
I would think
I
right
don't
after,
know.
after school is closed, we could
I don't see any.
probably be likely, although it's, I mean, it's both sides, because then there's a, you know, if they've got commitments with kids, or, you know, it's harder to go home and then turn around and come back. I don't know.
Did you find it difficult getting here this afternoon at 4:30?
I did, but it had nothing to do with.
Okay. What time do the elementary school teachers get out?
They get out at 3:50,
3:50?
right, our dismissal goes until about 4, and
Okay.
again, I have leftover kids and different things going on, so, but that is, I can be here.
In your opinion, I mean, I was trying to keep it as close to the dismissal as possible. Is 5 better than 4:30, or is 4:30 where it should be? And not to put you on the spot, I'm just asking what would
I mean,
draw?
I would think if even, I don't know, 4:15, just so that they could come straight from one to the other,
Okay.
but I mean, I'm sure there's opposite thought process.
Susan asked me, like, how do we get more people? Like, I really think when I shouldn't say we, when the board comes up with a list of things that are gonna need to be eliminated,
Mhm.
I think that's when you're gonna
Yeah.
get some urgency. So hopefully that's urgency from staff, parents, you know, anybody that's gonna be impacted by those things.
Is it possible, like, this is the main levy meeting, but to have like school community meetings, like sub-meetings, if you will, like the teachers of Park Lane and the community members of Park Lane, same for New Carlisle, Donaldsville, Medway. I mean, is that a potential?
I will absolutely held meetings at the different locations if it means more participation, absolutely, yes.
Just a way to just say, hey, you guys can meet and this is your building and you trust these staff members and teachers, and I just thinking of what has been done in the past and what's been successful. Matt, do we also have results from the polls specifically? Like,
I don't have them on me, I probably should have printed them out. I do know that it was a failure of like 61 to 39.
Yeah, another interesting fact, I believe, and I would have to bring that as well, but that it was defeated, wasn't it defeated? I'm not reading that data next time, I'm not sure it's a fact.
I think it was done at early voting. Yeah, like I think that we would have had to have like 80%.
Early voting came in first, that's what comes in first.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, yeah, for
we
sure.
would have had to have 80% of the vote yes to overcome early voting results.
it's just always interesting to see which.
Precincts, right? You're asking
Precinct,
about
thank
precincts.
you, pulling
Yeah.
precincts.
Looking at the precincts.
I think you need some other information.
So I can tell you from memory, we did terrible in the county. We probably did best in New Carlisle District 1, I do believe. We did best in New Carlisle, to be honest with you, but in the county and Park Lane, we did a dismal.
Okay, so we definitely need a group in Park Lane
Yes,
to get the right information out.
yes, yes. I think that we're always gonna do poorly in the county just because the demographics.
Because property
Yeah.
too as well, I think.
Yeah.
Might be better there.
But that, we can have that out next time, we can look and we can address that,
Okay.
absolutely. It should be on the Board of Elections website right now, if anybody has internet access. I don't, myself, right now, don't have the right computer. So, am I hearing 4:15, rotating it between the buildings? I mean, I cannot get here any earlier. There's no way I can get here any earlier. Do we want to have the next one here, or do we want to maybe try the next one at one of our elementary schools? I don't know if anybody has a suggestion, one way or the other.
Yeah, I like the idea of going to the school building.
Okay, we want to try Park Lane first?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, so 4:15 at Park Lane will be our next meeting. Do we want to wait to have that until after our work session, Paul? Do you think that would be a good idea? Okay.
Matt, the track meet is April 5th.
April 5th.
And our work session is the 29th of January.
25, I'm sorry. We're halfway through January, I'm still right at 24. Work session. So for the next meeting, just because I want to get it out of the way and then get to the unpleasantries of lessons learned. Fifth? February the 5th?
We have conferences.
Oh, that's right, shoot.
I hate, I know you guys say you're doing your work session on the 29th, is the 30th out of the question, so we don't run into conferences?
I would say,
Okay, I just was, because that next 2 weeks in February, you're gonna hit conferences.
10, 12, 3, 5, yeah.
And I feel like if people are staying after for conferences, they're gonna be less likely to stay after, even if you find an off day, and be like, no, I stayed after yesterday, I gotta stay after tomorrow, I'm not staying after today.
Is there a gap in the conference times at Park Lane like there is at the high school? Like, could we put it in that gap? Because there's a one day at the high school where they don't start until like 4:30.
Yeah, that's the one dates for conferences I don't have down. I have Donaldsville, the 4th and the 6th, New Carlisle, the 10th and the 12th, and the middle school, the 3rd and the 5th. If you said Park Lane, I missed it, I'm sorry.
It's the same as New Carlisle.
Same as New
Yeah.
Carlisle.
and it looks like both their conference dates start at 4 o'clock. One's 4 to 7, one's 4 to 7:30, so they actually typically there is one that starts a little later, but are you're starting at 4 too, Catherine? That's
Yeah,
what I'm looking.
once we changed the busing and all of that and dismissal time a couple of years ago, it just
Okay.
worked out that way.
Well, what if we did the 5th? I know that's in between conference days, but New Carlisle's is in the 10th and the 12th. I know the middle school has got conferences on the 5th, but that would be the first Wednesday
This is the one you're thinking for Park Lane.
for Park Lane. Okay, so we'll plan at Park Lane, 2-5 at 4:15. So before we get into lessons learned, Brian, you are our committee chair for signs. Carol, you are committee chair for mailers. Carrie has to confirm, but she will be for text messages. We know we have the musical for the 14th, 15th, and 16th. We're gonna have a table set up there. We'll get volunteers to do that. The track invitational is April 5th. We'll have a table there. ROTC meet, we'll have a table there. That's fairly long, both the ROTC and track invitational, so we'll probably need coverage for multiple people there. And then I will get a sign-up sheet out for conferences, and we can get some people to sign up. Make sure, I have most of your emails on the sign-up sheet. If you did not put your email, please put your email down. Okay.
Well, not the teacher.
So hopefully you guys are gonna go and find a quote for some small signs and some lead times, and we have from there. I do have some swag left over from the fall. It's just armbands. I mean, we're not really gonna be in a situation to where we're gonna need to have the wheel and have a bunch of people come, so I'll turn over the, I still have your tablecloth, by the way.
Okay.
So the tablecloth, I have the table, all the old signage got pitched because it wasn't useful anymore. But I do have the swag with the arm bands, quite a few of them. So we can have those at the event tables.
We had some boxes of small signs left over, didn't we, that went into the storage? That's all we did.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I put a couple in there, and then I've got some at my house. In terms of the actual like signs, all of them got put out, Roger. All the signs that we ordered, they all got distributed.
Even the ones in your truck.
Even the ones in your truck.
They're not back there anymore, we,
Really?
But nothing's.
Okay. I kind of want to get into some lessons learned. Carrie had suggested this early on. We tried to do it back before Christmas. It just got too busy. And this is really where I want to take the bulk of the meeting. We all saw what happened on social media. We tried to fight it. You know, we saw the things that they latched onto. We tried reaching out to the auditor, and they gave us information, you know, that said the way that we're interpreting and the way that the levy actually was the substitute. Hey, this is only on construction and on real property improvement. They just wouldn't put it in writing, which I understand why they wouldn't put it in writing. They put it in writing, but they wouldn't make it a clear explanation so that anybody could interpret it any way that they wanted to. You know, the written responses were, well, this is what it means, okay. And then you ask the question further, so this, yes. Well, if you didn't go on and you asked those further questions, anybody could interpret it any way that they wanted. So we had to fight that uphill battle. My biggest lessons learned, and I'm just gonna come out and say it, I cannot be the person sharing stuff to the New Carlisle page. I cannot be. I took that upon myself because I used to frequent that page quite a bit. I used to make a lot of posts on there just about community events, and so I knew that my post would get pushed up to the top. I feel like that needs to be a group effort so that there's not one single person being singled out by any opposition, and it has to take the brunt of that force. I mean, I don't care to be called a liar, because I know that I'm not, but I think it will be more effective if we can have a litany of people sharing the posts rather than one. because then you have to discredit 20 people, not one. So I don't know if anybody else has an opinion on that, but I know I personally will not be sharing as much as I was to that page anymore. So, any,
Yeah, we are a levy committee, so
Yes.
there's a committee of people to share information. I think that's fair.
so, and I appreciate that, and I agree. And so I think that the biggest lesson learned out of that is when Carol posts a post on Facebook, if you're not following the Facebook page, the Vote for Tecumseh Schools page, you need to follow it, like it, share it to your page, share it to the New Carlisle page. I share it to the Tecumseh Parents page, but just share it in any way, shape, or form that you can.
Matt, I think you have to keep in mind though, we've got to get these things to come from parents
Yeah.
in the community. If it comes from, I mean, I don't live in the community, so I would not feel comfortable posting something on a community Facebook page that I don't live in, and Beth doesn't live in. Catherine does, but she's also a principal, so now she's an extension of the school, and if I'm calling, if they're calling you a liar, well then, she's just an extension of you. I mean, honestly, they're just looking at us as the school that needs it to continue to exist, right? So we have a vested interest in it because we're the ones who are directly impacted by it, and stand to quote unquote benefit from it at their expense. Even though it's not really at their expense because they're not paying any more money, but you get what I'm saying. I just,
And you're 100% right.
it's not to say people
Yeah.
shouldn't post it, but I just think, they're gonna look at us and go, well, of course you're gonna share that information, because you're a liar too. I mean, I don't know.
I think everybody here wishes we had more parents and community members. I just think what we're wondering is how do we achieve that?
But I mean, even if it's like talking to people one-on-one in the community that you might be able to get to repost it or to just post it. Like, I don't think they have to be here.
I agree with everything. Go ahead, Carol, I'm sorry.
Never, both campaigns are just totally different with the people out there. We had our haters, but the people that you're trying to get to understand are just, I don't know, I'm still, my mind is still crazy from trying to get one parent, district, and a district parent, oh, yeah, okay. And then
But
they
but
just
I
don't
think
show up.
until it impacts them, they don't care.
No.
What's impacted
They
them
totally
is
forget
more.
it once you, and it's just, that's the thing, and this is totally off, but like he mentioned earlier, trying to get people into the meetings is the only way that you can do is put the information out there, why you should be here. That's the main thing that I heard through the whole thing. Well, we want facts and we want them. And if you don't put out the actual facts of what's gonna happen, and in simple terms that they can understand, because some people don't understand what they read. If you put it like, for an elementary student,
It really is.
they get mad, they don't think it's important, and they just pass it off, or they just won't show up, like, well, I don't care. Why should I care?
Yeah, absolutely.
But what involvement have you had with the PTOs?
So one of the PTO president is my neighbor.
Okay.
And so they're on board and they're involved. I'm not so much here. Unfortunately, I tried to make it to the PTO meeting last week to invite them to this, but I didn't. I don't think, I'm sure we can get PTO involved with this. The thing of it is that all those parents and everybody, they're already on board. You know what I mean? So having them here at this meeting, yes, it's additional resources. Yes, it's getting the facts out, but it's to Carol's point, it's not getting the information out to the lay people who you're trying to sway one way or the other. They're already on board. But I hear you. I agree with you.
But to Aaron's point, it could be the ones that are liking and sharing and
Yes.
reporting and.
Yes.
I think until we give them a list and they actually see it in black and white, this is going to go away if we do not pass
And
this.
we shouldn't wait, we need
That
to,
needs to come soon.
obviously through this campaign, it happened all before actual voting happened in early voting. And early voting in just this small community is, they go. So we have to get that information out before the day that they need to go and do it. Instead of like having, the ballot sent to them and then, they send it in, whatever.
I think we have to have that mindset of, we've got to pass this levy by April 18th.
Yes.
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 What about doing something in person? I know before we used to have, I forget what they called them, coffee somethings, or they'd go to people's houses and anybody, like you had a small group of friends. What if we just did something either in here or in, like, put the list out that Brenda's talking about? Because that's gonna get everybody talking, and even, when did you say the connecting link is going out in February? Was that early February?
End of January.
So, I don't know if we're allowed to put the list in there.
It'd be too late, right?
Like a town hall, almost like a town
Kind of,
hall or
because,
something.
because some of the older community members won't know anything until they see the connecting link, because they're not doing Facebook,
Mhm.
and they won't know what's going on, but then they might come because they want to get facts, and they want to get, ask a question or something like that. I also don't want to make a whole crazy town meeting where,
Well, too, and what they used to do is what used to be the Lions Den and Girls,
Yeah.
They would have the meetings where, depending on who was running or what was up and whatever,
Mhm.
they would have that link, so people could come.
Because a May election is going
And
to lower turnout,
maybe you just have
because people
a
don't
community
know or
meeting
realize it.
that says, this is what it is. But
It's gonna be lower
I'm
than it
going
was
to
in November, I
reiterate
can
what I
guarantee you that,
said
I would think.
in one of the last school board, not the last one, before, is like where they came up with, you were such a liar, this was the reasons why. We have got to, as a school district, look at everything they said that had been passed to them as laws. And we've got to go right beside it and say, okay, this is what you stated, this is what the fact is. If it's the same, if what they said because of the information we got was not communicated to us as it should have been, our bad. But if they were wrong, we've got to show them they were wrong. The thing is, these are the same, some of the same people that when we want to build the new schools, when we want to do the other levies, they were as nasty and hateful and everything else as they were this time. I was able to shut one of them down. But they're there, they're gonna be there, and no matter what this school district does, they are gonna be against anything. We could say that they get a golden pathway in here, and they would rip it apart.
And that's why I think we have to say what the goals are gonna be.
That's
And I
it,
think that's why you have to focus on
And
the
what we
parents.
say, we have to stick to.
that's it.
But I would say, I would just amend your statement, Paul, a little bit. It's not what the school district is gonna say, it's what the levy committee is gonna
Yes.
say.
Well,
The campaign
yeah.
has to be run by the levy committee
Yes.
by law. And since it's
Yeah.
on video, I just wanna make sure that the regulators meeting.
Yeah, and I should have said levy,
Meeting.
I should have said levy committee. But,
So-
it's got to be where they're not just turning you into anybody. into the worst living person in the world.
And I love that idea for like a mailer that goes out on a postcard, like one of the larger postcards. I think that that's a very valuable thing. If there are, any misinformation that's put out needs to be corrected.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say, if we think of this as we need to pass this levy with early voters by April 8th, I think you need to send most of your mailers. If you're gonna send 3, send 2 of them before that. If you think of the demographics of those voters, they're probably, retirees or those kind of things to where if they get that in their hands, then the one that goes out after April 8th, sometime between then and election day, would almost be that reminder
Yeah.
for those parents. Now, when can we put signs out?
60
You
days?
can, you can put them out, you can put them out anytime you want.
Okay. Well, we need, if we can get them out before April 8th,
Huh?
if we can get them out before April 8th, then
Oh, yeah.
So that's.
especially if it says on these, because I think we have something to add to these signs that says, did you look at those by chance?
You showed them to me, but I don't remember.
I can't remember exactly what it says, something about a renewal or something that we can attach to those signs. But I think that would make a difference too.
I agree.
Our cost for mailers, our cost for the one mailing we did last time was close to $2,000. It was $1,980.79.
Is that to send them out or is that the mailers?
That was just a mail them
That
out.
was the postage for the
For the
mailers.
mailers that we did.
Because remember, OEA actually donated the mailers in kind, and we paid for the postage. So that was the cost of the postage. So if you wanted to do that 3 times,
That's
That's
six
what
grand.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else on the ballot in May?
I don't know what it is yet, but it's a state initiative issue, whatever it
Okay.
is. Because
And I always say that because the turnout for a May
Right,
election
that's
is
right,
probably,
yeah.
it should be, knowing what I know about elections, a lot lower than November.
Oh, yeah.
And especially if there's not much else on the ballot.
Yeah.
So I would hate for,
Historically, data shows on those, that the people that want the levy are gonna show up for that.
Right.
yeah,
More so than people who don't, aren't gonna make a trip to vote no.
right,
Hopefully.
right. So that's just
As
something to
much
think about
as
too, is
people
I just, from a strategic standpoint, it's like, you have to, it's gonna be lower, than November for sure. I mean, no comparison, but.
The good news is,
So there are
this
likely
time
to be other
around,
things on the ballot.
there's no confusing, and I'll be the first one to admit it, I pushed for the substitute levy because I thought it was a no-brainer. It's like we can get new revenue just from the new construction. Why would anybody vote no for this? I'll admit, it was terrible ballot language. And everything we tried to do for 3 or 4 months to explain that ballot language, it just backfired. I don't like to give too much credit to the vote no crowd because they did not start coming out until after early voting had started. So I have my own personal issues, but, I think that the committee tried its best, and I don't think that there's anything else we could have done as a committee last time to try and explain that ballot language. I do think, though, that as the opposition may start to come out, it probably would be a good idea to meet and come up with a action plan to combat any misinformation, but this is very simple. It's a renewal.
Yeah.
We don't have this convoluted thing to where we're taking 2 levies, we're combining them together, and we're saying you can get growth on new construction and trying to explain what that ballot language means. This is purely, it's a renewal. So I think that we've got that on our hands. That's going to be a lot easier to explain and make people understand. And I understand that historically, we've always passed every single renewal we've ever had. So with that, we've got some homework items for signs. I guess, does anybody else have any other lessons learned? Paul, I really like yours. I like everybody else's that they've said and come out with. We have to figure out a way to get parents to come to these meetings. We talked about a community meeting. We can try and figure out what that date should be. We have to have this campaign run by the 8th of April.
Can we look at a list of voters, maybe as a committee,
Yeah.
and say, ooh, I see some people in there that didn't vote? And then say, like, I'm gonna go talk to those people?
Sure.
Can we contest of who brings the most community members and or teachers to the next one?
Well, this is what I'm gonna say, I don't even know the rules, because you can, I mean, how do you entice parents, oh, come in for a drawing and whoever gets picked.
Can we make
You're the
coffee for
fastest.
them?
You
Can
know,
we-
What the rules are.
Can somebody bake cookies and just
Because I
make more
pointed
presents?
to you.
That would be
Who's the
Susan
rule?
Wiles' treasure question.
I will read through this. I think that it's pretty, I think we're pretty open on things like that, and honestly, I can read the rule book, but Patty at the Board of Elections is super friendly. If I just called her and asked her, she'd
Yeah.
probably would tell
Oh,
me.
yeah, I would take this
Um,
over.
Me too. And I would rather ask her maybe than try to decipher all this myself, but yeah, I'm sure we can have things at meetings, like we can give people water and cookies, so why couldn't we say, you win a gift card to,
Yeah.
you know,
$20 gift card.
door prize? Can we have a door prize to Levy Committee meeting?
Ryan, I like your idea of looking at the voting laws and see who didn't vote last time. And trying to meet with them, you know, at least on a personal level. Are you thinking, so that's a one-on-one? Are you talking about community members?
I'm just
anybody?
talking about, like, we look at it and say, oh my gosh, I don't see somebody's name on here, they're in support of things. You know, we need to get them on our side. We need to have some conversations. I mean, I guess I look at it as, you know, it depends on what is gonna be on this list of eliminations or cutbacks or whatever you wanna call them, and if it's X, Y, Z, and you know, this group of people is gonna be impacted by that, and they didn't vote, we gotta go talk to those people and say, look, if you don't vote, X, Y, Z is gonna happen, and that's gonna impact something.
And it's a no. I mean, if they don't vote, it's already a no. They're not giving us a yes. We need them to come out.
Right, and I think a lot of people too are afraid to voice how they are because they don't want to get attacked
Yes.
by the other people, and they don't want to publicly put it out there on Facebook
That's true.
or any kind of social media, and they're scared because they're going to get attacked. So that's another, yeah.
Those people will attack.
Yeah, oh, yeah, trust me. It's awful, but I think people are just scared, and I don't know how to get them unscared. That's
For sure. Well, we're at 5:50. Go ahead.
I don't want you to close yet,
Okay.
because I'm going to say something right now, just going to put kind of a band.
Is this levy committee related stuff?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. Probably is.
Just making sure.
But I can pretty much guarantee you that you will have little to no assistance from any of the staff
See you, John. Thanks for coming.
due to what was voted in at the last school.
Understand.
But just to let you know, that is the word that I have received. It's very upsetting.
Do those folks understand that might impact them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
they're going.
Well, I really do appreciate everybody's time. I will take it upon myself to start taking out the voter registration law, because I still have those from last time. that we were able to get. I don't have any information on the most recent voter log. Does anybody know how you get that information to see who voted and who didn't? I know you can't see how
You
someone
can't see
voted.
how they
I will
voted,
ask
but you can
Patty.
see.
Okay, will you ask Patty, so
I
you'll,
will ask Pat.
so you'll see if we can get, you can't see
Yeah,
how they
you
voted,
can.
but who voted.
Yep,
Yeah, you
Okay.
can, it's easy.
and you can see who's
Okay.
registering, so we
You
can
can
get
see
them.
who's registered, you can see who voted, you just
Okay.
can't see how they voted.
Right.
Okay, so Susan, you will ask Patty and see how we can get a hold of those documents.
And I'll ask if we can get like more prizes for Levy Committee.
Okay. Well, good meeting, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We got some work to do. Couple of homework items, and then we will reconvene again on the 5th of February. I will get sign-up sheets for conferences out before then. So see everybody at Park Lane on the 5th at 4:15. Thank you.
Will it be in the Jenny thing?
I'll have to coordinate with,
Harold.
Yeah.
Carol.
Where's the Karen?
Yes, and moving forward, I probably not like moving forward. Just because I know it's all for transparency, but that way, if somebody were to say something, Susan, corrected some people tonight, if somebody were to say something and it's not corrected, and that gets out, that could become a problem. So that's legalistically, yes.
Well, listen, I know you guys are.
Do we know how many signs we'd like to get a quote for? Do you just want a quote for like 100, 200, you know?
I would say get bulk pricing anywhere from, I don't think 100's enough, and I think 1,000's too much. You know what I mean? Like, what is the bulk pricing run for 100, I guess?
Okay. You find out right again?
And now you know the total, it's been long there.
So, if you have interest in getting correct information out there, and we don't have parent participation. And so, you know, I feel like, putting information out there is how we get participation. That's how we're going.
It is very cute and very simple. I see it as most fun. It is silly.
You were doing Facebook.
You did amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I have a bill in your White House.
Back in here for at 6 o'clock.
Are you on hold upon it?
Are you okay with me shutting this off?
Yeah, go ahead. There's a button on the side there.
Red button?
Yeah.